not question. I do not question the sincerity of his convictions. I've had too many conversations with him to question his heart. But I am so raw today, of all days that we're doing this. Of all days that we're doing this right now, having this discussion, when, God, if this bill passed today, what that would mean for America, that this body and that body have now finally agreed. Because I know when Congressman White, the last black person to serve in Congress before the fall, the god-awful fall of the backlash after Reconstruction fell, he gave this famous speech where he talked about the phoenix will rise, that one day black people will serve in this body. And here we are in the Senate making history, the first time 3 African Americans have even served together, Republican and Democrat, and we all came together leading on Kamala's bill. And there's something about us that we knew, that it was something more than the legalistic issues that my colleague now wants to bring up. That we were a nation that needed this historic healing. And that if we passed this, it would not only do something substantive to make a difference on the books of the American federal system, but God, it would speak volumes to the racial pain and the hurt of generations. I do not need my colleague, the senator from Kentucky, to tell me about one lynching in this country. I've stood in the museum in Montgomery, Alabama, and watched African-American families weeping at the stories of pregnant women lynched in this country and their babies ripped out of them, while this body did nothing. I can hear the screams, as this body and membership can, of the unanswered cries for justice of our ancestors. Every one of us is sensitive to that anguish. Every one of us is sensitive to that pain, as is the senator from Kentucky.
Nothing in the bill would stop, would prevent the prosecution of heinous behavior. That's what's it intended for. What I'm trying to do is to make sure we don't get unintended consequences. We've fought the battle against mandatory minimums for a decade now because we tie up people in sentencing that makes no sense. 10 years for slapping someone would be an abomination, and it couldn't happen to anyone. Do we want a black woman who slapped 3 Jewish women in New Jersey to get 10 years in prison? If there was a group of them, it's now a conspiracy to lynch. We have to use some common sense here. We should not have a 10-year prison sentence for anything less than, at the very least, an attempt to do bodily harm.
I pray that the president signs legislation against lynching. How historic that would be. But today it is not going to happen, obviously. And I'm telling you right now, this celebration will come. This moment in American history will come. And the frustrating thing for me is, at a time that this country hungers for common sense, racial reconciliation, an acknowledgement of our past, and a looking forward to the better future, that this will be one of the sad days where that possibility was halted. But as we all know, one of the great leaders that Republicans and Democrats all hail asked that question, how long will it take? And the simple answer is not long, because the truth crushed the earth will rise again. Not long, because you reap what you sow. Not long, because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. We will pass this legislation. I pray that the members of this body, as we are right now, are the ones to do it.
Guys, come to me right now. 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 Come to me. Come to me right now. This woman just got tased. Come to me right now. Come to me right now.